I'm going into the last section here, which is called After Bamiyan. I trust you all know, are aware of the fact that the so-called Silk Road, after crossing the Tarim, either the northern or the southern edge of the Tarim Basin, and through many, many, many days of really desert aridity, came to some oases, some little cities and towns back in those days. There was more water in the Tarim Basin in those days, and crossed over the mountains and then went down the Bamiyan Valley in what is now Afghanistan. And along the cliff walls of the Bamiyan Valley, carved some enormous Buddha figures into the walls of the cliffs. Over 100 feet high, some of them. And they were, toward the end of the Taliban regime's dominant presence in Afghanistan, they fired at them with missiles and blew up the biggest ones as a sign of their disapproval of icons. I was really taken aback by that. A lot of us were. But that was just a prelude, as it turned out, to the destruction of the trade towers. And isn't it wonderful? The Taliban is going to come back into power again. March 2001, the Chinese Buddhist pilgrim, Xuanzang, describes the giant painted, gleaming, carved-out Buddhas standing in their stone cave niches on the edge of the Bamiyan Valley as he passed through there on foot on his way to India in the 7th century. Last week, they were blown up by the Taliban. Not by the Taliban, but by woman and nature-denying authoritarian worldviews that go back much farther even than Abraham. Dennis Dutton sent this poem around. Not even under mortar fire do they flinch. The Buddhas of Bamiyan take refuge in the dust. May we keep our minds clear and calm in the present moment and honor the dust. April 2001. From a person who writes about Buddhism. Dear Gary, well, yes, but the manifest Dharma is intrasamsaric and will decay. R. I wrote back, ah, yes, impermanence. But this is never a reason to let compassion and focus slide, or to pass off the sufferings of others because they are merely impermanent beings. Issa's Kobayashi Issa's haiku goes, Tsuyu no yo wa tsuyu no yo nagara, sari nagara. This dewdrop world is but a dewdrop world. And yet, that and yet is our perennial practice, and maybe the root of the Dharma. That translation is by Nanasakaki. It's very good. Part 3. A person who should know better wrote, many credulous and sentimental Westerners, I suspect, were upset by the destruction of the Afghan Buddha figures because they believe the so-called Eastern religion is more tender-hearted and less dogmatic. So, is nothing sacred? Only respect for human life and culture, which requires no divine sanction and no priesthood to inculcate it. The foolish veneration of holy places and holy texts remains a principal obstacle to that simple realization. This is another case of blame the victim, I wrote him. Buddhism is not on trial here. The Bamiyan statues are part of human life and culture, works of art, being destroyed by the idolaters of the book. Is there anything credulous in respecting the art and religious culture of the past? Counting on the tender-heartedness of most Buddhists, you can feel safe in trashing the Bamiyan figures as though the Taliban wasn't doing a good enough job. I doubt you would have the nerve to call for a little launch of a missile at the Kaaba. There are people who would put a hit on you then, and you know it. September 2011. The men and women who died at the World Trade Center, together with the Buddhists of Bamiyan, take refuge in the dust.